What if I told you that the next thing you do could completely shift how he sees you? And it doesn't involve saying a single word. You've been giving, trying, waiting, maybe even hoping that this time he'll finally see your worth. But let's be honest, men don't respond to effort. They respond to energy. And in this video, I'm giving you something that flips the entire dynamic on its head. A subtle, unexpected move that instantly grabs his attention and plants a seed he can't unsee. This isn't about manipulation. This is about magnetism. It's not about chasing. It's about positioning. And it's not about hoping. It's about knowing who you are and stepping into your power so deeply that it forces him to rise or lose you. I created this video because I got tired of watching women lower their standards, question their worth, and play small to keep a man who was never truly showing up. So today, I'm teaching you the exact move that doesn't just wake him up, it wakes you up. By the end of this video, you'll understand how to reclaim emotional power without being cold, disarm his emotional distance without saying a word, trigger his curiosity, attraction, and respect in a single, graceful shift. This is your breakthrough moment, not just in love, but in how you show up for yourself. So if you're ready to stop wondering what he's thinking and start watching him wonder how he ever took you for granted, let's begin. When things start to shift in a relationship, he pulls away, gets quiet, starts acting different. Most women make the same mistake, and it's not because they're needy, insecure, or doing anything wrong. It's because they're human. The biggest mistake women make in relationship dips is trying to fix it. The moment he goes distant, you start analyzing, replaying conversations, wondering what you said, what you did, or what changed. You might reach out more, become extra loving, maybe even try to prove your value, subtly or not. And all of that comes from a beautiful place, your desire to reconnect. But here's the truth most people won't say out loud. When a man starts to disconnect emotionally, and a woman leans in to close that gap, she often makes him feel less pulled in, not more. Why? Because his subconscious registers that you're chasing resolution. You're chasing closeness. And that shift tells his nervous system, she's trying harder than I am. That creates an energetic imbalance. He relaxes. You overfunction. He steps back. You step forward. And suddenly, you're carrying the emotional weight of the entire connection. The heartbreaking part. You're not wrong for wanting clarity, for seeking closeness, for showing you care. But in the moment where your energy turns towards solving the dip, you unknowingly step out of your power. You become the one managing the emotional tone of the relationship, and he becomes the one observing it. What most women don't realize is that pulling back doesn't mean giving up. It means creating space for truth to rise. It means honoring yourself enough to not patch something that might be teaching you a deeper lesson. In this video, I'll show you what to do instead of that default reaction. Because when you stop managing the dip and start mastering your response to it, everything shifts. Not only does he feel the difference, you do too. You stop waiting for his validation and start radiating your value. That's the move that makes you unforgettable. And that's the moment he realizes he can't afford to lose you. Here's the truth. Most women never hear clearly. A man pulling away when things start to feel real is not always about you. In fact, in many cases, it's not even about the relationship itself. It's about his relationship with intimacy. See, when connection deepens, so does vulnerability. And for a lot of men, that shift activates something unexpected, fear. Not fear of you or fear of the relationship, but fear of what it means to be seen fully without a mask. Fear of needing someone, fear of failing someone, fear of losing control. So instead of leaning into that closeness, he pulls back to regain his sense of safety, identity, or freedom. To you, it might feel like confusion, like emotional whiplash. You're thinking, wait, weren't we just getting closer? Weren't things going amazing? And yes, they were. That's what triggered it. Because real connection requires emotional responsibility. It requires showing up consistently. And a man who isn't used to being met at that level, or who still associates love with pressure, obligation, or loss, will retreat just when you're starting to feel most connected. It's important to understand this pattern isn't always conscious. He's not sitting there thinking, let me sabotage this. His nervous system is reacting. And because most men haven't been taught to process their inner emotional world the way women often are, their instinct is to withdraw, disconnect, or distract. But here's the key. When he pulls away, it doesn't mean you need to chase or question your worth. What it means is he's hitting an internal wall, and now you get to see whether he's willing to face it or flee from it. Your job in this moment is not to convince him of your value. It's to observe how he handles the discomfort of intimacy. Because real love isn't just about attraction. It's about capacity. And if he doesn't have the capacity to stay when things get real, he may not have the capacity to love you the way you need in the long run. So when he pulls away, take note. Don't panic. Watch. Because what he does next says everything about where he truly stands. So here's where everything changes. You've probably heard advice like mirror his energy, don't text first or act unbothered. But the move I'm about to share with you isn't about playing it cool. It's about shifting the entire emotional frequency of the connection in a way that commands his attention and respect on a soul deep level. The move, you stop making the connection your priority, and you quietly start making yourself your home again. Not in a dramatic, I'm done with him kind of way. Not with ultimatums or emotional outbursts. Just a subtle, confident, internal pivot. You stop reaching, you stop explaining, you stop waiting, you let the silence speak for you. Why is this so powerful? Because up until now, you've likely been sending signals that say this relationship matters to me. I'm invested. I'm willing to keep it going. That's beautiful, but only when it's mutual. When it's not, that energy begins to feel one-sided. And he feels that even if you say all the right things, your vibe says, I need this to work. And that's exactly what makes him relax, or worse, retreat. But when you suddenly stop holding space for him emotionally, when you stop responding immediately, stop checking in, stop showing up in that nurturing, over-available way, you trigger a different part of his brain: curiosity, uncertainty, and presence. Because now the pattern has broken and he feels it. This isn't about punishment. It's not cold. It's deeply feminine. Because feminine energy doesn't chase, it attracts. It doesn't demand, it inspires. And when you turn that energy inward and begin pouring it back into your own life, your peace, your passions, your glow, it sends a message he can't ignore. I'm no longer in emotional pursuit. I'm in emotional alignment. And here's the twist. He may not even consciously register what's changed. But on an energetic level, he'll start to feel your absence. Not just your physical absence, but your emotional availability slipping away. That's when he starts texting again. That's when he brings up something random, just to reconnect. That's when he starts wondering what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and if you're slipping out of reach. This move works not because it manipulates, but because it reveals. It reveals how invested he truly is. It reveals whether he's willing to step up now that you're no longer filling in the gaps. And most importantly, it reveals you to yourself, because this moment isn't just about getting him to notice. It's about you finally choosing you. You choosing your peace over his potential. You choosing alignment over attachment. And once you do that, everything changes. Let me tell you about someone I worked with. We'll call her Ava. Ava was in one of those almost relationships. You know, the kind, the connection is strong, the chemistry is undeniable, and it feels like it's heading somewhere. But he just won't fully show up. They were talking every day, texting good morning and good night, having deep conversations, even getting a little vulnerable. She started falling, not fast, but fully. And then out of nowhere, silence. One day he's saying how much he loves talking to her, and the next, nothing. No reply, no explanation, just gone. She went through all the normal reactions: confusion, hurt, then self-doubt. Did I come on too strong? Did I say something wrong? The urge to double text was real. So was the temptation to scroll through their old messages and try to decode where things shifted. But instead of spiraling, Ava did something different. She used the move. She didn't reach out. She didn't call him out or send a paragraph. She didn't even post on social media to hint she was unbothered. She went quiet, not in bitterness, but in peace. She pivoted. She started putting that energy back into herself, joined a dance class, took a weekend trip with her girlfriends, reorganized her space. She didn't fake moving on. She actually began to, and here's what happened. 10 days later, he texts, "Hey, just wanted to check in. How have you been?" She left him on read for a day. Not as a strategy, but because she was actually living. When she finally replied, she was warm but breezy. No mention of the ghosting, no emotional heaviness, just a woman who clearly had a life that didn't pause when he disappeared. That shook him. Within a week, he was trying to get her back, asking to see her, saying how he missed their connection. And for the first time, she wasn't desperate for it. She wasn't sitting by the phone or building castles in her mind. She was grounded, curious, detached in the healthiest way. Eventually, he admitted, "I got scared. Things were feeling too real too fast, and I didn't know how to handle it. But when you didn't chase me, it made me realize what I was losing." That's the power of the move. It's not about teaching him a lesson. It's about teaching yourself what you truly deserve. Ava didn't win him back by fighting for his attention. She became the kind of woman whose presence he didn't want to risk losing. Whether your story turns out like Ava's or not, remember, it's not about the ghoster. It's about how you choose to respond to the silence. And sometimes silence is the loudest statement of all. Let's be real. Everything starts with mindset, not just in relationships, but in how you move through the world. And if there's one shift that changes everything in love, it's this. You stop asking, how can I get him to choose me? And you start asking, am I choosing me? So many women go into relationships already preparing to prove themselves, to be low maintenance, to be the cool girl, to love him through his wounds, to show that you're different from the rest. But here's the problem. When your energy is centered around being chosen, you automatically hand over your power. You place your worth outside of you, waiting for it to be reflected back in someone else's validation. The shift begins when you realize you were never meant to audition for a role in someone else's life. You are the main character in yours. When you stop operating from a place of needing to earn love and start moving from a place of knowing that love should be mutual, effortless, and reciprocal, you begin to see everything differently. You don't chase clarity, you expect it. You don't beg for effort, you observe it, and you don't hold on to potential, you honor reality. When you embrace this mindset shift, the entire dynamic changes. You no longer spiral when someone pulls away. You pause and ask, does this feel emotionally safe for me? You stop obsessing over mixed signals. Instead, you recognize that confusion is a cue to slow down, not chase harder. You stop shrinking yourself to be easier to love. Instead, you expand and let the right person meet you there. This isn't about arrogance, it's about alignment. It's about finally realizing that your softness is a strength, your standards are sacred, and your time is not a playground for someone else's indecision. And yes, this mindset shift might mean losing some people. It might mean letting go of the one who almost got it right. It might mean being alone longer than you'd like. But what you gain is far greater: clarity, confidence, and peace. You become emotionally untouchable, not because you don't feel, but because you no longer abandon yourself for love. One of the most powerful things you can do is sit with yourself and ask, what if nothing is wrong with me? What if the only thing I've been doing wrong is accepting less than what I truly desire because I didn't believe I could have more? That's the moment everything shifts. When you finally stop performing, when you stop over-explaining, when you stop trying to be enough for someone who was never ready to receive you in the first place. You are not here to chase love. You are here to embody it. And when your mindset aligns with that truth, you won't have to ask whether someone sees your value, because your energy will make it undeniable. So he comes back, not with full clarity, not with a grand gesture, but with that vague, almost hesitant energy. Hey, I've been thinking about you, or I miss you, but I don't really know what I want. Let's be clear. This is the crossroads. This is where most women either fall back into the cycle or step into a new standard. When he comes back confused, your job is not to immediately soften and make space for him. It's not to decode what he means. It's not to help him figure it out. Your job is to stand still in your clarity and let him catch up to it. A man returning uncertain is often testing to see, is the door still open? Is the emotional energy still available to me, even if I'm not ready to fully commit? And when you respond with warmth but boundaries, you give him the opportunity to choose with intention, not convenience. You don't have to be harsh. You don't need to play games. You can simply say something like, it's good to hear from you. I've done a lot of growing, and I'm really clear on the kind of connection I want. If you're just feeling unsure or nostalgic, I get it, but I'm not available for something unclear. Simple, calm, direct. That kind of response does two things. It protects your peace. It invites him to rise to your level without pressure. Because here's the truth. If someone is confused about you, they're not ready for you. Love requires emotional presence. And if he's still wavering, unsure, or stuck in his head, then you owe it to yourself to not join him there. The best thing you can do when he comes back confused is to stay rooted in your clarity. Let your energy say, you may not know what you want, but I do. And from that space, real love either steps forward or filters itself out. This is where your growth gets tested. Not when he leaves, not when he comes back, but when you choose to stay in your power, regardless of how he responds. Let's be honest. Part of you might still be hoping that once you pull back, he'll snap out of it. That your shift in energy will trigger his clarity. That he'll chase you, apologize, realize what he lost. And sometimes, yes, that happens. But other times he stays silent, or his response is lukewarm. Or worse, he reacts in a way that makes you question if any of it ever mattered. And that's the moment where you either fold or you rise. Staying in your power isn't about getting a reaction. It's about choosing yourself, even in the silence, even when your ego is craving validation, even when your heart still wants the story to end differently. It's deciding that your peace, your standards, and your emotional safety are not up for negotiation. You don't stay in your power because it's easy. You stay because you've tasted what it's like to abandon yourself, and you refuse to go back. When he doesn't react, or when his reaction is disappointing, that's your clarity. That's the closure. Not because he gave it to you, but because you found it without him. That's real power, not needing a dramatic ending to finally walk away with dignity. And the wild part, that kind of energy, is magnetic. When you stand firm, not bitter, not dramatic, but deeply grounded in your worth, the right people feel it, and the wrong ones, they fall away. Not because you pushed them, but because your alignment no longer allows them in. So whether he regrets it or not, whether he figures it out or stays confused, you've already won. Because staying in your power is never about the result. It's about the message you send to yourself. I will never shrink to be loved again. Now that you've had your breakthrough, the shift, the clarity, the reclaiming of your power, it's time to reinforce it. Because growth doesn't stick unless you anchor it with new habits, new beliefs, and new standards. One breakthrough can change everything, yes, but only if it becomes a way of being, not just a moment of realization. So let's talk about what happens next. Not in theory, but in real practical terms. The first step, create space between your reaction and your response. When emotions hit, you'll feel the urge to reach out, to over-explain, to make it make sense. That's old programming. Now your job is to pause, feel the emotion fully, without acting on it. Ask yourself, is this reaction based on fear or self-trust? If it's fear, wait, breathe, ground, then decide. Second, build rituals that reconnect you to your power daily. It could be journaling for 5 minutes every morning, repeating affirmations that speak to the woman you're becoming, saying no to what drains you, saying yes to what energizes you. Power isn't a mood, it's a muscle. And like any muscle, it strengthens through repetition. Third, stop romanticizing inconsistency. That old part of you might still want to believe that if you just wait long enough, give enough, prove enough, he'll get it. But your new standard doesn't leave room for maybes. The truth is, you don't need to turn a man into the right one. The right one will already be ready. Fourth, upgrade your circle. You're stepping into a new frequency. That means surrounding yourself with voices that reflect the version of you you're becoming, not the one you're healing from. If you're constantly getting advice to just give him time or be patient, and it doesn't align with your values, gently distance yourself. You need people who say, you deserve to be loved loudly, clearly, and now. Fifth, track your wins. Every time you respond differently, write it down. Every time you choose peace over chaos, self-respect over seeking, alignment over anxiety, that's a win. Celebrate it. Proof builds confidence. Confidence builds consistency. Consistency builds a new identity. And finally, hold the standard, even when it's lonely. This is the part no one talks about. Sometimes growth feels isolating. You'll miss the familiarity of old patterns. You'll crave the comfort of being wanted, even if it wasn't real. But the loneliness won't last forever. The right love will meet you in the space you're protecting right now. And when it does, it won't feel confusing. It won't feel like a roller coaster. It will feel like peace. This part of the journey isn't about waiting for someone else to rise. It's about rising for yourself. Because once you start moving from power instead of pain, your entire world shifts. The way you date, the way you speak, the way you look at yourself in the mirror. You stop asking if you're enough, and you start asking if they're enough for you. That's the real glow up. So keep going. Keep choosing you over and over again, even when no one's watching, even when it would be easier to go back. You're not who you used to be anymore. You're a woman who's breaking cycles, rewriting her story, and raising the bar, not just for others, but for yourself. And that's the breakthrough worth protecting. As we wrap up today's journey, I want to leave you with one powerful thought. This isn't the end, it's just the beginning. What we've covered today is just the first step in a much deeper transformation. You've unlocked a shift in your mindset, your approach to relationships, and your own sense of worth, and that's something to celebrate. But remember, breakthroughs are only as lasting as the effort you put into reinforcing them. It's like planting a seed. It's sprouted, yes, but now it needs nurturing, care, and consistent attention to truly bloom. You've taken the first bold step toward owning your power in relationships. And what happens next? That's where the magic begins. From here on out, it's about integrating everything we've talked about, not just in your love life, but in your everyday world. The mindset shifts, the boundaries, the standards. Those aren't just for relationships. They are for your entire life. When you start applying them in your friendships, your career, your self-talk, you'll see how much your entire reality shifts. You will no longer be in a space where you're settling, waiting for external validation, or doubting your worth. You'll be living every single day from a place of unwavering confidence in yourself. I want you to understand something powerful. You don't have to wait for the perfect relationship to feel whole. The relationship with yourself is the most important one you'll ever have. So let's commit right now that from this moment forward, every decision you make, whether in dating or in life, is grounded in this one truth. I am enough exactly as I am. Now, what's coming next? This is where the journey really takes off. We're diving deeper into practical steps you can take to keep this momentum going. In future videos, we'll explore how to set unshakable boundaries that align with your newfound power, how to read people's energy so you can spot red flags before they even happen, and how to magnetize the right partner, not through chasing, but through embodying your highest self. But beyond that, we'll also get real about the challenges you'll face along the way. There will be moments where you question yourself, where doubt creeps in, where it feels easier to settle or shrink. And in those moments, I'll remind you, you are worthy of everything you desire and more. Don't let temporary discomfort convince you to lower your standards. Trust me when I say, the best is yet to come. And here's the key. When you make yourself the priority, everything else falls into place. The relationships you attract will be reflections of your self-respect. The job opportunities you pursue will align with your passions. The life you build will be one of intention, fulfillment, and unwavering belief that you are capable of handling anything that comes your way. But it's not all about work or striving. It's about pleasure too. Learning to enjoy the process of becoming the best version of yourself without rushing. Life is a journey, not a race. And the more you love yourself, the more effortlessly the universe will meet you with people, experiences, and opportunities that reflect that same love. As we wrap this up, I want to leave you with one final thought to carry with you into the next chapter. Your value is not up for negotiation. Whether he sees it or not, whether the world validates it or not, whether you get everything you think you want right now or not, you are inherently worthy, you are whole, you are powerful, and you are deserving of everything you desire. So let's keep this momentum going. In the upcoming videos, we'll continue to dive deep into the tools, insights, and strategies that will help you embody this new, empowered version of yourself. But for now, take a moment to sit with how far you've come. You've just taken a giant leap into your new reality. Celebrate it, own it, and get ready for what's to come.